Hey Esty, if you have ever posted a reel or a video on social media and you see that maybe it gets like 100 views or even 1,000 views, and you can see that it's being seen by non-followers or people who don't follow your social media, that can feel really exciting when that happens. It can feel like a, oh my gosh, I did something right, something's clicking moment. But if you go in to your actual booking link and you're not seeing any bookings come from that post, it can be super demotivating. That gap between getting seen and getting booked as an esthetician can be one of the most glaring issues in your business, especially whenever you're putting in the work, posting the content, and getting more visible in your business, but you're not seeing that like lower funnel booking. It can feel like all of it is for nothing. And whenever you have large gaps in your calendar, it can feel like wasted effort whenever it comes to visibility marketing. And we know views are not clients and followers are not revenue, and the metrics that look pretty on paper might not actually be the metrics that are moving your business forward. You can be active, consistent, and genuinely being visible, but if your booking calendar is not reflecting that, then you, my friend, are in the visibility trap. And a lot of estheticians are also in it right now. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand why your visibility might look like it's working, but your bookings are staying flat, and where that disconnect is. You'll also be able to look at your own content and see if it's building bookings or just building attention, because those things are not the same, and most people are only depending on one for their marketing efforts. And you'll also know what needs to shift so that the content that you're already posting starts doing more than just getting you seen by random people. This episode is all about your content working harder for you, not you making more content. So let's get you booked up. Welcome to GlamTech Marketing, where estheticians get booked up with marketing strategies that actually work. I'm Faith, I'm a licensed esthetician, and I have a master's degree in digital marketing and over 7 years of experience of helping fellow licensed estheticians and beauty professionals build their businesses. If you are a licensed esthetician looking to build something bigger than a booking link, then you're here. You did it. Thank you for joining me. New episodes drop every Tuesday, so please go ahead and follow along. Okay, so what I see consistently when looking at esthetician businesses across every stage is there is the same ceiling whenever it comes to getting seen on social media. And that ceiling is creating consistent content on social media and really putting in effort in your marketing, but not seeing that same reflection in your booking link or in your calendar. And whenever there is a mismatch between the efforts going in and the rewards coming out, then it usually leads to pretty heavy burnout on social media. And that is really easy to do across all industries, but definitely the beauty industry. And even when you're burned out, I can see a lot of estheticians really trying to push through and continue posting something. However, if you don't know why there's a mismatch between bookings and getting seen and getting those like follower metrics and likes and engagement, if there's a mismatch there and you don't know why or what that is, then you're just going to continue to burn yourself out more. But the problem isn't volume, and it's probably not even the quality of content, but the problem is what that content is doing or not doing for the person watching it. Because attention on social media is fairly easy to get once you know what gets clicks. Once you have that virality formula, you can pretty much create content that will get you attention. But getting bookings requires something different. Somebody needs to know who you are, why they should trust you, and have a reason to act. And let's be real, that is a lot of pressure to put on a teeny tiny little social media post. So those three things need to be intentionally built into the strategy that you're putting out so that you're getting more than views and clicks off of your social media posts. And I'm going to be focusing mostly on social media as the example for this episode. However, this does apply to really anything that you're seeing engagement with, but not booking. So emails, website traffic, search, it can really be transferred to whatever you need the most. Because no matter where you're focusing, if you're getting seen and getting some engagement, but you're not getting bookings, then you're not getting your bills paid. And very quickly, does engagement and views just stop feeding your ego? Because, having a lot of views, but still having to cook up ramen so that you could pay rent this month, it just isn't a good feeling. Regardless where you're focusing on, the visibility trap can really show up anywhere. Not all content does the same job, but once you understand what is really pushing your bookings and what kind of psychological formula or marketing formula to use, you can pull that formula into multiple different aspects of your marketing efforts. There's not one kind of visibility. There's actually two main types whenever it comes to trying to get some bookings, and they both do completely different things. The first one I like to call attention-based visibility. This is the type of visibility that gets you seen. It'll get you impressions, reach, and engagements. It signals that you exist, and therefore it is valuable. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, only do this certain type of content. Anything that's going to give you virality or an extended reach isn't worth it. I am not that type of marketer, and I do see value in content that will get you attention from people who might not be looking at you otherwise. Because attention-based visibility will drive interest on who you are and what you do and what you believe in. And that is valuable and can drive people to your business. But it is not the finish line. The second type of visibility is bookings-based visibility. This is the type of content that not only communicates your positioning very clearly, but also gives someone two things: a path and a reason to book with you. This is the type of content that converts or carves the initial path into getting someone to convert into a client with you. And the reason I call it the visibility trap is because attention-based visibility is kind of what we're taught to chase after, and is also very gratifying whenever you start to see it. Because it feels good to get followers and reach and engagement. But if you're optimizing for that, then you are optimizing for a social media platform. And whenever you're an esthetician that provides services in person specifically, you need more than just clicks and engagement and followers. Because being seen through attention-based visibility is not the same as being chosen to be booked with as an esthetician. And if you're really only focusing on getting seen and not being chosen as an esthetician to provide services, you will always see a disconnect or a lag, if you will, between getting seen and getting booked. And the goal isn't to stop creating content that gets attention. It's that this content also needs to be pushing people to the next phase of the marketing funnel or the booking path. Attention-based visibility and booking-based visibility are built from different ingredients, but once you can kind of see the recipes, you will start to identify them in most pieces of content that you consume. Attention-based visibility is typically things like trending audios, aesthetic videos. It can sometimes be entertainment videos or even broad stroke educational videos, specifically in the beauty industry. And they do well in performance whenever it comes to social media metrics. And a true example that I feel like we've all seen from like attention-based visibility is a very satisfying extraction video. I mean, who doesn't love that? And then we send a little love and engage and comment how crazy that was. And it's great for reach, but it doesn't necessarily, one, communicate exactly who you serve, and it doesn't also necessarily reach those people who are within the radius to book with you. I also want to emphasize that attention-based visibility can be educational. It doesn't have to be entertaining. So an example of this would be sending a summer SPF email to your client list to remind them that summer's coming up and they need to have sunscreen on their face. People will probably open it, maybe click it, and maybe a couple people might shop depending on how streamlined your website is. However, it isn't necessarily going to bring in the level of bookings that you're wanting. Booking-based visibility is much more clearer positioning and a very distinct call to action that really guides someone who's interested in the next phase. This can also be content that has a lot of trust signals or answers questions. This content might get fewer views. However, it statistically will bring in more bookings than just a broad attention-based visibility post. Booking-based content can look like you explaining what you specialize in while actively showing the results of something that you've worked on with someone, like a reel of a voiceover of you talking about how you're an acne specialist in a very specific location, and then having photos overlaid the top of someone's acne progress week by week or facial by facial for 12 weeks or 6 months, whatever that time frame looks like. That is trust building content that speaks to a specific type of person who has a specific type of problem. Another example of this is, instead of sending that summer SPF email to your clients, send a summer skincare routine refresh email and share specific products or a specific before and after that can really show the difference that skincare can make during the summertime months. An email like this is educational, similarly to that first email that we talked about, but it also positions your expertise and gives them a clear path to take an action. If your main goal is to get bookings, then every single piece of content that you make should be doing one of three things: helping potential clients trust you, helping potential clients find you, or helping them take the next step. If your content isn't doing at least one of these things, then you really are just capitalizing on attention-based visibility. And the clearest sign that you're in the visibility trap is you are seeing engagements and views, but you aren't seeing your booking calendar getting filled. And I feel like this is the right time to talk about this and the right place to sneak this in here. But a visibility trap that I see a lot in this industry is esthetician follow for follow trains. And I hope we're ready for this conversation together because it might be a little controversial. However, I do have opinions on this, and I have opinions on this similarly to buying followers, because my one question is, what is this going to do for your business? Now, if your goal is to have a large circle of support of other estheticians around you and around your business, then great. That is exactly what this is. However, these estheticians don't know you or your business, and after this follow, it's kind of on you both to initiate an actual relationship outside of just following each other. But also know that these are other estheticians in the industry, and they are not going to book with you. So if you are looking at a calendar that is very empty and there are large gaps, and you think that this is going to skyrocket your growth or speed run your marketing efforts, I just feel like this is not the right decision. And there are other things that you can be doing that are more worthwhile. Because I don't know if you've ever done this before, but it is time consuming to go and follow every single person that's following you. And it just becomes kind of a time suck because, again, none of these people are going to book with you because they're all estheticians. A lot of them aren't even in your area. And again, if you want a large circle of esthetician support, maybe find that in a Facebook group, not on your own Instagram. And you also just opened your content up for your entire competition to look at and scrutinize and potentially copy. I don't know. I'm just going to leave that there, but I just have opinions that there are other things that you can be doing. And this is very classic visibility trap vibe for me. So what can you do instead? Go find a Facebook group that is local to you, like a local women's Facebook group. That is a really great way to start networking with people who aren't estheticians, but might be interested in your services. Another option is post a graphic or a talking reel of your expertise and what you do, and then geotag on Instagram or Facebook to kind of route people who are in that area to that post. Okay. So I have a workshop for us. I always want you to leave with something actionable that you can do this week to change your business and get some forward momentum. And I think this week we need to go through and see what vibes our content is giving. Step 1 is go into your Instagram profile. If you were like a complete stranger, within 10 seconds, could you tell what you specialize in, who your ideal client is, and how to book? If the answer is like maybe or yeah, I think so, then that's a problem. It should be a definite yes. They know exactly who you are, what you specialize in, and how to book with you. Because if you are getting engagement and views from your posts, but you aren't getting bookings, then it might actually be something very unclear at the profile level. Number 2, go look at your last 9 social media posts. Count how many of them really talk to your ideal client, have a clear call to action, and build trust that you are an expert in your field. If fewer than 6 of those posts don't have any of those, or maybe just one, then you need stronger booking content, not just attention-based visibility. Now, if you're sitting there like, no, like all of these 9 posts have very strong aspects of booking, then maybe it's time to start mixing in a little bit of attention-based visibility in there so we get a good mix. And then also check your consistency. Social media loves whenever someone is consistent on Instagram or whatever social media app you're trying to build and grow in. They love consistency. So you can't just be posting sporadically and expect the algorithm and that social media platform to push you. Step 3 is go to your top performing posts and see what worked and really look at those engagement metrics. And if you're seeing that you're getting a lot of saves, but you're not seeing bookings from that, ask yourself why. It could be that it's just entertaining, or it's educational in a more general sense, or you never even invited them to book. But also, it could be that the algorithm picked this up for people that aren't even your ideal client. Going back to that extraction video, who is really saving those videos? Is it other estheticians like you? Is it people who are really into like weird ASMR stuff? Or are they your ideal client saving this for later, ready to book with you? It's totally fine to have that kind of content and those types of followers who will never actually book with you, but it is important to acknowledge that gap so that you can start to find followers that can become clients. Step number 4 is checking for your overall direction and consistency in your marketing efforts. So kind of going back to social media specifically, but remember you can cherry pick and use this for emails or any other marketing efforts. But whenever we talk about social media, look back and see, maybe you started talking about hydration facials for a couple weeks and then you shifted to lash extensions because it got more views, or maybe you started doing skincare routines because you did also integrate a new like virtual skincare edit or consultation. If you are covering too many topics within a short time frame, you are probably confusing your audience as to what you specialize in and what you offer. Because every time you shift direction, you're resetting the positioning that you've built on that platform. And consistency in your messaging is what will eventually build your brand as a credible source for that topic. So even if you have multiple services, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go scrap those other services. That's not what I'm saying. But you need to be focusing on your most popular, your best performing, and your highest revenue services first. Okay, final step is go through your last 9 to 10 posts again and mark how many of them have a direct call to action. So not just link in bio or DM me to book, like a real call to action. So I wrote an example of one that I would love for you to use or kind of make your own. And the CTA is going to be positioned at the bottom of the caption. So you want a little bit of nurturing, and then at the end you can add a little direct call to action to get someone to book. So an example would be, if acne has been frustrating you, I have 2 openings next week. The link is in my bio to book a consultation. So that is more specific than link in bio. Okay, so that's really calling someone in, and it's really calling them out that if they are someone who's struggling with acne, and you can even add like if you're struggling with acne in the Dallas area, or if the summer Texas sun has been flaring up your acne spots, here is the information below. So those are more specific, and that type of copywriting in your captions can just be a little bit punchier and add to that like booking-based visibility that I was talking about. And it's important to continue to reflect on your content beyond whatever the social media analytics are giving you, because you need to be looking to see if your content is doing its job. So stop measuring your content by how many people saw it and start measuring your content on how many people were inspired to take the next action, because those are the metrics that are going to tell you if your content is actually working in your business. And if you're wanting to make that shift today, I would definitely recommend auditing your booking path to see exactly how you're showing up in terms of visibility, but also all the way through the booking path to make sure that someone is very confident in booking with you. And if you want a more structured audit to really pinpoint where things are working and not working in your booking path, then go ahead and check out my Booked Up Esthetician Marketing Audit. It helps you see what's working and what needs to be fixed so that you can get more bookings. The link is in the show notes or in the description, depending on where you're watching, and it's completely free. And it will definitely do more for your business than just another month of random posting. Thank you so much for joining me for GlamTech Marketing's Booked Up Esthetician podcast. I'm your host, Faith Rodriguez, licensed esthetician and founder of GlamTech Marketing. If this episode gave you something useful, please go ahead and leave a review or send it to an esthetician that you know that might also find this helpful. Till we talk again next week.